Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Is there anyone in the room that doesn't have the picture with the Prime Minister? No. Prime Minister, thank you so much for that. The video that you just watched was commissioned by the Tribute to Liberty a couple of weeks ago in anticipation of tonight's event with the Prime Minister. This particular piece represents our common suffering, our common resistance, and our common victory. And it is our tribute to liberty. And I am delighted to see, perhaps for the first time in my life, the communities from coast to coast to coast, from Koreans to Vietnamese to Chinese, Cambodians, Central and Eastern Europeans, people from South America, pretty much from around the globe. So thank you so much for coming. The Right Honourable Prime Minister Stephen Harper, Madame Harper, Excellencies, Honourable Senators, Members of Parliament, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, mes amis, bienvenue à tous. I'm pleased to be here to speak on behalf of Board of Directors of Tribute to Liberty as its chair at this truly momentous event in history of our project to build a Canadian memorial to victims of communism, and we are so honored to have been joined by our very special guest, the Right Honourable Prime Minister Stephen Harper. Thank you, Prime Minister, for having dedicated the time to being with us tonight. We thank you again for your amazing and inspirational words. I would also like to underscore that your leadership on human rights, in the case of freedom, have been a great encouragement in our own work. Thank you for that. And in particular, we are grateful for your tireless support of two of the greatest evils of the century of tears, the 20th century, the Holocaust and the common crimes of communism. You have always spoken with a clear voice in recognizing the victims, in condemning the perpetrators against humanity, standing as a champion against those who would seek to deny or diminish them. Your remarks this evening, hard to follow, and our government's financial support of this project show how deeply the stories of survivors of communist tyrannies are embedded in your heart. And for that, we thank you again. Mrs. Harper, we also would like to thank you for your continuous encouragement and for your kindness. Friends, as someone who grew up in Warsaw, Poland, first-generation immigrant, a city ravaged by both German Nazis and Soviet communism, a city touched by Holocaust and Stalinist repression, as someone who grew up without knowing both of my grandfathers, taken by both regimes, I'm moved to be standing here in front of you as proud first-generation Canadian. And let me say this, since we don't say this often enough, I love this country, our homeland, Canada. And indeed, many of us here this evening found refuge in Canada and built our lives anew, having escaped communism. Here in Canada, we had the unique opportunity to live freely alongside our brothers and sisters from different backgrounds who shared the same similar experience as victims of repression, and we were also able to learn from them and work with them. And for example, this past year, I was deeply honored to serve as a member of Canada's Advisory Council to the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance, of which Canada was the chair, again, thanks to the Prime Minister's leadership. And because of this, I know it, we still have a lot of work to do and a lot to learn from our Jewish cousins when it comes to the collection and preservation of the survivors' testimonies of communism. Canada is a beacon of freedom and a safe harbor for millions of immigrants. As Prime Minister stated, nearly a quarter of Canadians, yes, 1 in 4, close to 8 million of us, have been either directly or indirectly affected by communist regimes. As Prime Minister noted in his remarks, these people have come from all around the world, from Central and Eastern Europe to Asia, to Africa, to South America. It is therefore appropriate that the multi-ethnic fabric of Canada has afforded us this chance to commemorate the victims of communism together. And I am really proud to say that our board of directors reflects that diversity. Yes, absolutely. A memorial is a common place of memory, a gathering spot for reflection and remembrance. This project, your project, is a uniquely Canadian, and it will tell the stories. Those stories are your stories, and they are engraved into the story of Canada. One of the unique elements of this holy ground is the result of the 999 project, where generous donors of $1,000 or more will see their names permanently inscribed on a wall of remembrance, and their personal stories featured on Tribute to Liberty website, where we hope, with your help and your generosity, to develop the first Canadian virtual museum of communism. And friends, with today's technology, with the QR coding, with the smartphones, we will transfer you from that memorial site into our virtual site, where you'll be able to see all of the dedications and the testimonies and the legacy and the lasting gifts. And those lasting gifts of $100,000 and more will make a pristine mark on our capital city of Ottawa and beyond. Multiple small donations, those who can't give much more than they have, are already reflected on our pathway to liberty. And I would welcome all of you to visit the Tribute to Liberty website and also to share the video that you have seen tonight with as many of your friends and colleagues as you can. One of the other key elements of the monument will be light. The light representing the beacon of hope, freedom, and safety, which Canada represents so well. We hope that colors of that light will be able to reflect many communities who will commemorate their anniversaries there. Whether it is yellow and blue for the Holodomor commemorations in November, whether it is red and yellow for the fall of Saigon in April, or is it Black Ribbon Day in August, or many others, this would be a truly unique Canadian place where each and every night, when you come to Ottawa, you'll see the shining beacon of freedom with the ever-changing lights that bring us and bind us forever, all of us, Canadians of that particular heritage. We are really excited to see the results of upcoming competition, and I personally look forward to keeping you updated on the project's progress. Friends, we do anticipate the final results to be announced by late August of this year. As I close, allow me to note that last week, almost on the eve of the 25th anniversary of election victory of Solidarity movement that has unchained almost all the Soviet-occupied Europe, the last communist dictator of Poland, an instigator of martial law, Wojciech Jaruzelski, died. His death represents a small reminder why this project is so important. Because as we lose the living links to the crimes of communism, and we lose those who have never faced their own Nuremberg, we must commit ourselves to remembering them. But more importantly, we need to celebrate. And we need to celebrate the heroes like the Saint John Paul II, like Václav Havel, and many others. And we need to do so for the sake of future generations, so then the memory doesn't fade away, so our children and grandchildren will never repeat the deadly mistakes made in the pursuit of perverse social engineering, but exemplified by the evil ideology of communism. And as a final word of thanks, on behalf of our board, I would like to express our deepest appreciation to our legacy donors. Please, Ian, Jim, Dolores, Louise, Marta, please rise and be acknowledged by all of us. I would also like to sincerely thank all of our table sponsors, and on behalf of those who have benefited from your generosity, thank you so much to tonight's sponsors as well. I hope that you have enjoyed the variety of colors and uniforms worn by our volunteers tonight. And my biggest thanks go to the volunteers. Thank you. I am extremely grateful to my good friend, Minister Jason Kenney, for his personal leadership in this project, as well as to Minister Shelley Glover for her support. But I especially like to thank tonight Senators Jona Martin and Hai No for being here tonight and for your immense contribution to the success of this project. Please, both of you, stand and be acknowledged. I'm also really grateful to all the leaders of Canada's major federal political parties who have supported that project as well, and have done that without any hesitation. I'm also grateful to many Canadians who aren't directly connected to the countries affected by communism, but actually have reached out to support their fellow citizens, and they did help their own neighbors, friends, and acquaintances. So, as I always say, this is not about the monument. This is about a memorial site for Canadians, by Canadians of all walks of life. And then thank you again to each and every one of you for your generous support of Tribute to Liberty. Please give from the heart. please give more and often. And with that, I thank you for coming this evening. God bless you, and God bless Canada. Good night.